All right, welcome, kings and queens. Today we are back and we are talking Love and Marriage Huntsville. Listen, I am one episode behind. So this commentary is solely based on last week's episode, not this week's episode that you just watched, but the one when they first got to Houston. Okay, so that's what I'm covering. Love and Marriage Huntsville, season 7, episode 13. Um, I'm going to be all over the place with this one. First, I'm going to just give you my brief take on that past episode. For those of you who are just tuned in or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
I'm going to jump around a little bit with this commentary, but I believe Kiki should have stayed home. You should have never come. That's just my opinion. Because you weren't invited. Let's just pause there. I'm not fighting to force open any doors that don't belong to me. I am not fighting to get into any rooms where people do not want me to be there. I don't know why people are so infatuated with being in rooms, being around people, places, or things where they really don't want you. Now, this is in real life, right? Forget just like the Kiki thing. In real life, if you don't want me there, I'm not coming. So I believe she should have used her grown woman sense and stayed at home. Period. Point blank. She wasn't invited, and I've seen like different comments from different groups where people are saying, "Oh, Melody should have never told her to call." Listen, this happens in reality television. Take Love and Marriage Huntsville off the table. You can go to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Orange County. People don't get invited sometimes, and they may have a friend that's going. And I say, well, call them. It's not my trip. Call so and so, see how she feels about you going. So let's not do that. Let's not make a special occasion for Kiki as if Melody did something wrong. You know, if my friend called me and I was packing my bags and my friend said, hey, listen, what are you doing? I'm packing my bags. Oh, where you headed? Girl, we going on a trip. Oh, I didn't know. Okay, well, shit, call her and see. Call him and see. I mean, was she supposed to lie? I sometimes I just don't follow the rationale of the public opinion when it comes to friendship, right? That's why I don't really think that Kiki is a good fit for the show because it seems like we really want to bend and twist the rules to accommodate Kiki as if she's a little girl, and she's not a little girl. Kiki is a big grown woman, a full grown woman. Now, this is reality television. And that's why I said maybe she's not ready. I've been saying that. If you cannot adjust and be ready for a blessing that you pray for, and you expect everybody to stop, drop, and roll, this just may not be your door, right? Because it's business as usual when it comes to reality television. It's shade as usual when it comes to reality television. You got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them. And in this instance, you should have folded it. I mean, why would you want to come? Yeah, considering the incident at Kimmy and Maurice's house where Kiki threw the water in Letitia's face, no, you should have stayed home. That had occurred, what, a month or two before the Houston trip? You had no attempts to reach out. You had no attempts to make an apology. You hadn't talked to that group or been around that group since that incident. So it was not a wise decision as a grown woman to show up and go on vacation with them. Let's take reality television off the table. Let's just put you or whomever is listening, put yourself in the same position. If you get into it at somebody's home, right, and y'all almost or could have come to blows because you threw, uh, a cup of water in their face, or they threw a cup of water in your face. No cap. Are you going to try to go with them on vacation? It's unrealistic. Hell no. Nor would they want you on vacation with them, especially if y'all had not spoken since the incident. Nor should you or would you be showing up on somebody's vacation or on somebody's trip saying, hey, I'm just here to apologize. I would like to think that most of you have more sense than that. So why do we think Kiki belongs and should go and deserves to go? based on her behavior the previous month with her engagement with her cousin that had not been talked through and they had not tied up loose ends. That was a bad call, number one. Um, I feel like she shifted the efforts of what the Fletchers were trying to do. I feel like her presence did not add to the trip. Okay. Doesn't mean that she could not have gone to a different trip, but there need to be conversations that should have had prior to her arriving. Don't show up on my vacation talking about you need to apologize. Girl, I am not trying to hear that today or tomorrow or the next day. We can talk about that after I get done with my vacation. Now, I feel like Nell, that's on you. Okay. Because I feel like every time Chris attempts to lead and give you wisdom and insight as the head and the husband, you push back and you copped an attitude with that man and you kind of manipulated that situation about how he needs to support you. It would be nice now if you stop meddling. It would be nice for you to focus on your relationship and your family because what we don't need is another Kimmy. Kimmy started off as a not even a mentor, as Mother Goose. I'm gonna say Mother Goose, trying to bring people together and help the women work on and resolve their issues when Kimmy had her own stuff going on with Maurice. I don't want to see you take the role that you're in and identify you and your husband as mentors. These are grown-ups. And when you identify yourself as a mentor, what they're saying is there's a superiority when it comes to you. And they are your subordinates. And that's subconsciously what you're creating. Meaning I'm mentoring them to do better. And we're not on the same level. And to me, we don't need any mentors. We need you just to be a couple with your husband. That was a horrible call by you. Number one, sideswiping your husband and not really taking his advice and recommending Kiki to get her ass back on that flight and head on back to Huntsville. He gave you some good wisdom, but you didn't want to get uncomfortable. And I think maybe you're trying to create these wow television moments. My concern is that it's going to end up working against you if you don't pump your brakes. Okay, that's the first thing. I'm kind of looking at Nell sideways because I feel like you snap at your husband quite often for attempting to be a leader and a protector, right? He's trying to protect your place on this show by not allowing you to get too messy. He's trying to protect your status as a queen by not allowing you to go to a place where you can't come back from. He's trying to keep you in a spotlight where people continue to love you and like you as a Fletcher. And you keep bumping heads with your husband now because I feel like what's important to you is that you get your way. Joyce Meyer said long time ago, being right will cause you to end up by yourself. So I really hope that we see something different from Nell next season when she comes back because I don't want to see you meddle so much in Melody's and Martell's business and in situations and scenarios where you're bringing Kiki in to quote unquote fix things when it just wasn't a good idea. I feel like Chris is the only one with some sense when it comes to being grown and mature. He tried talking sense into Marsau and he attempted to talk sense into Nell. And what I mean by Marsau is when Marsau and Letitia had their little spat about the fake pregnancy, he told Marsau, don't make it bigger than what it is. And I don't know if you all understand what he was saying. First of all, you and her both know this is a fake storyline. So why are you carrying the ball trying to score a touchdown on something that was fake, a hypothetical scenario? Okay. And he tried to talk sense into Marsau. Um, Child, you know that didn't work. But I have my thoughts on why Marsau took the opportunity to exploit the fake storyline. I have my thoughts. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit and Go back to the first night where they have dinner and Tisha and Marsau is carrying out this fake storyline about Letitia possibly being pregnant. He don't believe it. To him, that would equate to her cheating. And I said I have my thoughts on it. And here are my thoughts. Letitia, your husband is gone. His frustrations, in my opinion, could possibly be more about you messing up something else that he could potentially have on the side than the actual pregnancy fake story. I think your husband could be living a double life, in my opinion. In my opinion, I think his frustration with you is sending the wrong message to his alleged side piece. And that's where I think the frustration is coming from. If the rumors are true about him having a relationship with this unknown woman, right? Because his wrath toward you, in my opinion, has more to do with his affinity and his desire to protect the other person and protect her feelings. Because there's no way he should have turned up like that over a quote unquote fake storyline. The only time you see a man go into protective mode is to protect something that he values. So it wasn't about him because he know you weren't pregnant. It wasn't about you because he knows you weren't pregnant. In my opinion, I think he didn't want to give the impression to the quote unquote alleged other woman that things were deeper than you, that things were deeper between you and him than he's let on. So I feel like your husband is gone. He's left the building. He's checked out. And this episode, the first night in Houston, was extremely telling. The man is gone mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I don't feel like he likes you playing games or messing with his setup that he's created on the side, okay? And I'm sorry to say it, but if you don't figure out something quick, Letitia, I think he's going to be gone in the physical. I feel like he can barely stomach pretending to love and or like you. And it comes out more so when he's drinking. I think he does a good job when he's not drinking, but when he's drinking, his true feelings, he cannot hide. It's all on his face, okay? Um, I feel like he's grown out of love. We hear it happen in the real world all the time where people say couples grow apart. Is that a problem? I can't answer that for the two of them. But I think it becomes a problem when you become oblivious to the signs and when you become oblivious and fail to realize what's happening right in front of your face. And then you want us to jump on a love train that doesn't exist and to protect your marriage and declare that everybody's coming after your marriage when it's actually your husband that has come for your marriage. Okay. Marceau is gone. Okay. And y'all, we are watching this being played out on camera. It's actually really sad when you think about the breakdown of a marriage. We are watching it happen, and I don't even know if most people realize that. It's really sad in my opinion. Okay? I feel like Letitia's clamoring and clawing of she's clamoring and clawing at glimpses of what used to be. And not because she loves him per se, but I think she loves the idea of being married. She loves the idea and the fantasy of having and cultivating a happy home, a warm and cozy home with a mother and a father, children, a dog. I think Letitia lives in Fantasyland. Um, we see that come across the screen when what is it called? When she's constantly duplicating the efforts of other women, when she's copying Stormy's business template and placing it on her website. And I don't care if a third party did it, it's still your product. It's still up to you to review, revise, and make sure you have a thorough you have a thorough system in place where you're checking for errors and edits. She's also duplicated the efforts, the looks of Melody Cherie. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this lady is not really in touch with reality. And that's why we see her. I'm gonna say, I ain't gonna even say fighting for love. What I want to say? She's desperate. I think that marriage is her identity. Um, I think this marriage has assisted and it's shaped and molded her and her self-esteem, her identity, her confidence, and her self-worth. And I don't think she wants to be like the other women, quote unquote, who don't have a man. And what do I mean by the other women? That's often the first insult that women with a man. If you want to insult another woman, the first thing they yell is, that's why you ain't got no man. And Letitia is trying very hard to savage what she has with Marsau so she won't be like the quote unquote other women that ain't got no man. Okay. What Betty Wright says, sometimes having a piece of man is better than having no man at all. And I think that's what Letitia's standing on when it comes to her marital business. Okay. And it's because she's judged other women so harshly. That's why she's locked and loaded like a pit bull on that marriage. And she can't come up off of it because you shamed Melody for divorcing Martell. You shame other women for not having a man. Okay, you and your mother. And I'm sorry to say that this man is withering away. He isn't happy. And that's all I got for last week's episode. What are your thoughts? Let's take it to the chat.